Hey everybody, this is my 6th vlog. This will be posted to my YouTube channel just to give you guys an update. I wanted to let you guys know that I finished all my paperwork that I needed to do for my business. Now I'm just waiting on the state of Wyoming because I need to get my EIN number for an employer's license, and then for payroll, and then I need to speak to the IRS and one of the Secretary of State representatives so that I can establish my business and hopefully secure a business loan for a business loan that would secure me for about the next 2 to 3 years. Right now with the prosthetic industry, there's a lot of excessive excessive prices going around. So my goal is with DeLeon devices, these would be prosthetics and medical mechanisms that would be affordable and to the point of out of pocket for the individual that is needing either a leg or an arm or an apparatus that could help them stand, such as the one that I built. So it really comes down to this. Number one, the funding industry, and I will put things to I will put pictures and stuff to match this. But the prosthetic industry, the slide presentation that I'm going to do is going to be a secondary video after this. But anyway, to continue, the prosthetic industry charges a lot of money to create these prosthetics, and sometimes the money that is charged comes out of the disabled person's pocket, and or the disabled person may not get the specific prosthetic they're looking for because their state insurance may not be able to pay for it or pay the full amount. So there probably would be a copay between the between the Medicaid company and parents of the disabled or the guardian of the disabled. I know when I was about, I want to say 19, one of my first power chairs broke down, and my mom had gotten together about $12,000 to fund the replacement of the battery, the replacement of the wheels, and the replacement of the frame of the chair. And to be honest, sometimes those expenses, and I know for my mom at the time, given our financial position, it wasn't very it wasn't very practical or reasonable, to say the least. So what I'm trying to bring with my business is I want to make it one, affordable for people who need prosthetics, as long as they can qualify for Medicaid or state insurance. And then number two, I want to make sure that there's enough of a supply for people who do need them and who do qualify with those type of insurances to receive them in a quick and easy way. I do have some ideas for distribution, but that will be in another video, probably in the presentation video that I'm gonna make. And then thirdly, I want to be able to bring a better quality of life to disabled people such as myself, a disabled person who may be out of the job and can't start their own job like I can, or who just got newly disabled, because disabilities, physical disabilities and physical injuries are on the rise in the workforce, and most times workman's comp does not pay those who are injured enough to maintain their lives without that stable paycheck. And people could say what they want about 9 to 5s, but you need a stable residual income, and that's just a staple of life, and definitely life here in the U.S. But so when a disabled person might not be able to access that part of life, hopefully an affordable prosthetic would help them when it comes to terms of their confidence, terms of their ability, in terms of their overall lifestyle. It would be able to hopefully spur them on to more positive solutions so that a disabled person can live with dignity and respect among their peers. And I get what that's like, not to have dignity within your own disability and have people question you as a disabled person. I definitely understand that, and this is more of a personal project. Um, because a couple months ago, I won't name the specific company because they're kind of a big company, but a couple months ago, I was let go from my retail job at a retail service company, and it sucked. I thought that I put in my best efforts uh, to do that, to do the job well as a cashier, and on and off, I've been a cashier in customer service for about 13 years, like from the state of California to the state of Wyoming, which is where I'm currently living. So after that, I did reapply to some other jobs, but mainly I would get the interview and I would not get the job. And so a lot of those times you get discouraged as a disabled person, and so my thought was I'm just going to make my own job. I'm going to make this work for me and work for other people like me. So, I mean, the top three things that we want to focus on is number one, we want to make the prosthetics here at DeLeon Devices affordable. Number two, we want to make sure that those prosthetics that are made are streamlined and almost on a constant manufacturing rate, to where if somebody like myself who has the physical disability of quadriplegic cerebral palsy, and I can't stand up on my own without mechanical assistance, if they have an involved physical disability like that, the person can get the prosthetic they need, or the medical device they need, so that they could have a better quality of life. And then leading into the third, which I already said, which is a better quality of life. Disabled people are people too, whether that's physically disabled like I am, or a person with a mental delay disability. We're all people. Disabled people make up about 35% of the U.S. population. And so for me right now, what I'm trying to focus on is the everyday man and woman that go to work, that have those blue collar jobs, and they get injured on the job. The single mom, just like my mom was at a point, you know, that's taking care of her kids and can only work a maximum of 2 jobs to just keep the lights on. Or, a father that's trying to make it in this economy and wants his family to have a good, decent quality life, and then he gets hurt, and so let's just say both of those people make claims to workman's comp, and they're not being paid anywhere near their wages, so it might not be within their best interest to quit that job, but maybe they might have to resign because of their injury that might become permanent, you know, from somebody who, let's just say Bob, right? Let's just say Bob works at the iron industry, and so over at the iron industry, he accidentally, like, cuts his finger, right? cuts his finger almost clean off, he needs to get surgery and stitches and needs at least, 3 to 6 weeks worth of rehab, and sometimes workman's comp will pay for that. And other times, most times, it will not. Of course, I'm going to explain more stories like this. I actually want to do this now that I'm thinking of it. I will explain more stories like this on my YouTube channel. I don't know if it's going to be daily because it's going to take some research, but I think that this would be a really good way to outreach and connect with some people who are disabled. But anyway, back to my example story. So, yeah, let's just say our character Bob, hurts his finger on the job pretty significantly to where he has to get 6 weeks worth of rehab maximum. So he's not working or he's on paid leave, right? And let's just say workman's comp and their representatives agree to a settlement for those 6 weeks of, $2,000 every 2 weeks, paid leave, pending medical examination and clearance back to the job and proof of disability, or proof of injury, basically, right? So let's just say Bob goes through the steps. He tries to save $2,000 every 2 weeks, right? But let's think about what the working man has to do, right? Let's think about what adults have to do. And let's say Bob has 2 kids, right? With a wife. Okay, let's just say Bob is 28, a couple years older than me. He's expecting his, 3rd kid, family of 5, in his early 30s, and he hurt his finger on the job, and he's the main breadwinner. So with that, $2,000 every 2 weeks won't pay for the expenses that he may need for groceries, because groceries every 2 weeks in this economy right now, and I won't bring politics into it because it's really a numbers thing, and this is where I'm at personally. It's a numbers thing, but I'll explain that later in my future videos. Anyway, yeah, groceries right now are probably about $1,000 every 2 weeks per family, not to mention other expenses like cell phone bill, electric bill, trash bill, water bill. So, let's just say that, because this is a fictional example story, let's just say that Bob is only able to save after the first month, right? So that means he has one more payment left, right? After the first month of payments, he's only able to save around $1,500, and rent's coming up for $2,000. But because his workman comp representatives only agreed to a certain amount of hours, and maybe not the full-time hours that he was working when he was working there, and didn't. Sorry, what I'm trying to say, and I don't really record videos, is let's just say, right, that the 2,000 is not enough, right? He has 1,500 left at the end of the month, and he has to pay rent on the first, which is pretty normal, right? Okay, so half a thing of groceries in the fridge, right? And he needs to be able to pay rent on the first, and this is a very reasonable problem and realistic problem for anybody that works, any type of parent, so let's say that his union reps for workman comp did not find it adequate to pay him the full amount of hours, pay him out for the full amount of hours that he would be working if he was not injured and worked full time. Let's just say that. So now, Bob is messed up. He doesn't know what to do. He's stressed out, and I just want to be appropriate with my language here to get the point across. But he's stressed out, so he just talks to his people. Hey man, I can work. Please, I got a wife and 2 kids. They're in elementary school, and then we're expecting one more. Let's just say work is like, well, we agreed to 25 hours compared to the regular 60 that you work. We agreed to 25 hours per week. At, let's just say $40 an hour. Let's just say he does contracting and he's up in his factory business and contracting business. Let's just say that for story's sake, right? And so, the main point is Bob is losing out on money. Anyway, not to explain a whole story here. This is why I think going forward I should do, research on relatable, true disabled stories, of workman's comp and why a prosthetic is so much needed. Anyway, Bob's unable to get what he needs, right? So maybe the workman's comp approves Bob for a cheap prosthetic, something that he can't really put on himself. He talks to his health insurance company to see what they can pay for, and maybe he's in a state such as New York or California or Vermont where he might have to have a specialty document to apply for a specialized prosthetic, which is a real thing. I had to do that with my cerebral palsy leg braces. So they were specific braces that helped me stand and walk around when I was a kid, and this was in the early 2000s. Anyway, what I'm saying is that this stuff isn't working for him, so he finally has enough, tries to go back to work, and he ends up screwing up again because of his recovery, and then he gets let go from his job. Now he doesn't have a job. Or let's just do another story, but I'll do it a little bit more quick, is let's just say Maria, right? Maria, let's say she's a bus driver, okay? She's a bus driver. She's about 45 years old, has some bad knees, right? Used to be fit back in college, but it's been 20 years, 45 years old, has a college degree, but needed to, get a job to get the bills paid when she was going to college. And now she's in college debt. Now her bus driver job that she used as a temporary job before is now a permanent job where she pays the majority of her bills. And let's just say she's in a relationship with her longtime boyfriend and new fiance, and technically she's a single mom. They're not married yet, right? Let's just say Maria and Tom are not married yet, and Tom only works as an English teacher at the school that Maria drops off at. I'm just trying to make a realistic situation. Anyway, let's say, right, Maria's driving one day with the kids, right, and a kid, unfortunately, on the bus, took a bite of a peanut butter sandwich, starts having a nut allergy in the middle of the bus ride, right? So he needs to have access to an EpiPen, and without looking, Maria tries her best to slam on the brakes, tries her best to slow the bus down, but it ends up hitting, sideswiping a tree, not aggressively, but enough to jolt the bus, and she rolls her ankle and then after she helps the child, she ends up breaking it after putting weight on a hairline fracture, which can happen. Okay. Anyway, my point is Maria is now temporarily disabled. Um, let's say she didn't unionize like Bob did, okay? Because normally factory jobs have unions. Um, so let's say she was not able to fit the requirements on an income level to unionize or to pay for a union lawyer, union rep, or just qualify for that due to her income means of being a single mom. And this is realistic. This is realistic. A lot of single moms work, uh, let's just say, well, this is a matter of opinion, but let's just say inadequate customer service jobs from somewhere at Chili's, Burger King, whatever, because they have to get the bills paid. Because they have to get the bills paid. There's a kid, he needs to be provided for, he or she needs to be provided for, and some of those single moms may not have a good rapport with their ex-partner or their ex-lover, ex-husband, what have you, however you want to put that. My point is that, so Maria's on hard times, right? She tries to ask her doctor and her medical insurance, hey, is there like a splint that I could wear, like a boot, so I can at least try to get back to work? No. And then, Maria's like, okay, well, like I could still work, I could still do something. And, yet again, Maria's in a state where they just have to let her go. She might not have any rights, so to speak, being a formerly able-bodied person working, 30 plus hours as a bus driver, only reflecting a paycheck of part-time hours or like close to part-time hours. So let's say she works 30 hours a week, all right, maximum, gets on paper gross. She's able to have 60 hours every 2 weeks, but instead of that paycheck being $3,000, right, it's closer to 2,600, right? And she has to pay for rent, she has to pay for her phone, and all this type of stuff, and in my future videos I will go into more in depth on some of the realistic stories and some of the true stories behind some of the unfortunate happenings with people with disabilities or people that occur disabilities, like from fractures to just freak accidents. I think this would be something that would honestly help people see not only where I'm coming from, but see where your neighbor's coming from, where your mom may be coming from, or where your friend may be coming from. Anyway, my point is with this story is that Maria is not able to get the adequate help she needs, and therefore she's not able to get adequate care through a prosthetic. So to end my video here, because it's been long, I would like to build a business, primarily a prosthetic business, that's affordable, that's quick and easy to distribute when it comes to parts, mechanisms, medical supplies, and 3, puts the dignity back in the disabled person's pocket. Because even if you are disabled or you know somebody that is disabled, you're still a person. You still deserve to work. You still deserve to live life. You still deserve to have your dignity. And just because your physical disability may be publicly prominent towards other people doesn't mean that you still don't deserve to have your privacy. That's a big part, is that some people like me, that do have a disability and see some of the social stigmas behind that, get embarrassed. I would say that I got embarrassed a lot in my life. So yeah. All right. Yeah, with DeLeon devices, I just want to make prosthetics that are affordable, one, easy and fast to use, two, and help disabled people feel more encouraged about who they are and their unique life journey going forward. Because just because you have a disability does not mean it can't be fixed. And I will put my story in the next video to kind of like tell you more about myself and what I've been through to get to this point. But yeah, all right, thank you, man. Peace.